Hi, welcome to this guide for how to stay at 100% stability in your cities whilst building basically as many quarters as you want, right? So, a high level overview, right? You can see a huge number of quarters here in Memphis, yet 100% stability. And I'm way over as well. You can see the plus 1500 plus a whole other bunch of bonuses, and I'm only about down 1600 or 1700 or something like that, right? So I'm fairly close to an optimal setup here. So how did I do that? Well, let's first start with sort of an overview of the stability mechanic. And then we'll talk about how to do it before you unlock these commons quarters. And then how to do it once you actually have them unlocked. So to give you a bit of an overview of the stability mechanic, it's basically a tax on building quarters, right? So if you look here, you can see that this, let's say this maker's quarter has minus 10 stability on it, right? And when you go to 0 stability, basically you can only build things that enhance your stability, which are things like this commons quarter, the garrison, there's a bunch of infrastructure that's available, like the hospital, all sorts of things. But basically you can't do anything productive with your city at that point, so it's a pretty pointless city. So you might have 10,000 industry, but you can't actually use it for anything, right? So yeah, basically before, let's move on to discussing what to do before you unlock the commons quarter. Before you unlock the commons quarter, you sort of have a few options of how to get stability in your city, right? And they are, so holy sites produce, in my case, 20 stability with base, and then I have plus 5 stability from literalism. I don't know where I got that from, but yeah, that's a nice little bonus, so that's one of the options. You can also add tenants to your religion. So you can see here that I get plus 2 stability on rivers. I think this is basically the only good tenant for stability. All the other ones are kind of weak. If you're just looking for pure stability in your cities. The other thing that produces a bunch of stability is wonders. So you can see, for example, the Pyramid of Giza produces 20 stability. Machu Picchu produces 20. And then this one you can see is producing 40 stability. So it ranges, and this one also has gives, I think, some bonuses as well. And certain wonders produce more, others produce less, others give a bonus with it, and so on. So that's another way. You can build infrastructure. So if you look at, there's a public fountain that gives you a little bit of stability, an aqueduct, and apothecary. I don't build too much of these, but yeah, in the early game, they might be useful. The garrison quarter, that I think unlocks a little bit earlier, you can also build. If we look at the garrison quarter, it gives you 5 stability, and you can build some infrastructure to make that 10. And yeah, then finally the commons quarter, of course, which we'll discuss in more detail in a moment, also produces lots of stability. Now, so before you unlock this commons quarter, what you want to be doing is just building whatever you want in your cities, right, until you drop below 100 stability, 100% stability. And then you need to pivot away from doing it to doing something else, like building a garrison, or building some infrastructure, or building a wonder, or building putting down that holy site, that sort of stuff. You can delay by looking for certain bonuses, like adding a tenant to your religion. You can sort of get a nice little boost and be able to build a few more districts without getting distracted by having to look after your stability. So that's basically what you want to do before you unlock the commons quarter. Now, after you unlock the commons quarter, basically you can build as many districts in your cities as you want with the right setup. Now, I think the easiest to see is, yeah, over here. Basically, to explain this, right, so if we look at the maker's quarter, you get minus 10 stability from building it. And the commons quarter gives plus 5 stability per adjacent maker's quarter, right? So to have a net effect of 0 for this maker's quarter, well, you just need to make sure that 2 commons quarter are next to it, right? And the game is sort of a hex-based game. So what you do is that you have 2 commons quarter, and then you have a maker's quarter, right? And then you can sort of have 3 between, and then you need to have another commons quarter right here. And then now to keep this sort of going, we'd have to put down a commons quarter here, and then we could put another maker's quarter here, another commons quarter. So I can demonstrate that a little bit here to keep this sort of up, right? So right here, I would need to put down another commons quarter, and then I can put down another maker's quarter, and then I would need another commons quarter right here, right? And then I can have another maker's quarter, and so on, right? And this is basically infinitely repeatable. You can keep doing this, and then the net impact of building any more quarters or districts is basically 0 on stability. And that's how you get to like this city at Memphis, which has 10,000 industry and 6,000 science, right? And still at 100% stability, no problem. Now sometimes the terrain messes with you a little bit, like right here there's a mountain which then sort of messed around, and I ended up having to put like 2 commons quarters right here, right? But if you find sort of nice open terrain where you can build it the way that you want to, like right here is a pretty good example as well, right? Like you can see this one has sort of 6 research quarters around it, and so does this one. So yeah, it's basically, I could keep building this whole area up with research quarters and get it to whatever I need. And I have lots of other areas like this as well. Like down here, I've been growing makers quarters. There's some research quarters right here. This is full of makers quarters over here. So yeah, and all of these cities have 100 stability without any issues. So yeah, that's how you do it. So in summary, sort of before unlocking the commons quarter, you want to be just building whatever you want, and then switch to one of the options that you have for generating commons quarter. You can look in the description. There will be like a link to a guide that sort of writes this up, and I think there will also be the some information there as well. And then after you unlock the commons quarter, you want to use this sort of hex-based strategy of building your quarters, and then you can build as many districts in any city and still keep it at 100% stability as you want. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.